heavy rivalry game. When you see something like that in the NFL, it makes you kind of sick.
Well, the high school level, it starts with the coaches, and we've got Coach Dan Gomez of the San Benito Greyhounds joining us here in the huddle. Coach, good morning, sir. How are you?
Doing good, gentlemen. How are you? How about you guys?
Very well. Glad you could join us and be a part of the show today. And after last night's victory over the Harlingen Cardinals in the Battle of the Arroyo, where does this set the record? Do you have an idea? I mean, you're pretty much new to the program. Is this something new for you, or
as far as
the overall record, the 87 meeting? I mean, you don't let that hang in a locker room or something, do you?
No, I don't. Not here. It doesn't hang here.
Okay.
I'm sure it's still a little lopsided, but one step at a time.
Well, you're 2-0, Coach.
Yeah, we are. We are.
And last night, when you're going for that 2-point conversion, you call a timeout. You want to make sure what's happening on the line.
Our alignment, we just wanted to make sure that our wideouts were in the right position, and and that we give ourselves the best chance to execute.
And obviously, they executed and worked out very well according to the plan.
It did. It did.
Did you think? I mean, I know that as you're game planning for the week out, did you at any point think this is going to come down to a 2-point conversion and we're going to have to leave it there on the field, or were you expecting some sort of different ball game?
Every week we there's a segment in our practice every day that deals with situations. So every week we practice a situation, and on Wednesdays we practice our red zone and 2-point play. So we were ready to execute it whenever the time calls for it, because we practiced it. So it is part of our makeup, and we just want to make sure that when the situations do arise, that we're well prepared for them.
So you didn't want to play any overtime. You wanted to either win it all last night, or you're going to leave it there on the field.
Yeah, yeah. We didn't. We decided early when we got the ball there in the last quarter, at the end of the quarter or the fourth quarter, that we were going to go for 2, even before we had crossed the 50. So the mindset, getting ready for that situation was already. We're already full throttle with it. So. It was just time to call the play and get it done.
And make it happen.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Hey, Coach, on one of those plays, your last drive, I think you were in a 3rd or 4th and long, and you guys came up with that unbelievable catch around the inside the 20. What did you what's going through your head in that on that moment? Because I believe it was 4th and long. I don't know if it was 4th and long or 3rd and long, but you guys came out with that. Great play. I'm not sure if it was a post or if you just did, a rail. I'm not sure what you guys did, but your receiver got open, and it seemed like all your guys were very calm and collected.
Yeah, it was 4th and 9, and we threw it to our go-to guy. So Mondo made a great adjustment to the ball, and made a good catch. And those are things that we just preach to the kids about. Staying within themselves, and it's never over till it's over. And last year was a good example of that, and it carried over to the same team that we played, and the kids kept calm, collective, and executed that that crucial play.
Coach, how do you keep them calm? How do you keep them cool and collected, especially in the 87th meeting of the Battle of the Arroyo? We've seen so many different highlights and lowlights of some of these matches where it just doesn't go as it comes out. These kids are obviously hyped up. How do you keep them in check and say, hey, listen, guys, it's just a Friday night. Let's go out and do what we've got to do?
Well, the staff, including myself, we don't bring up, the game itself because we know the kids get it from the community and their family members and former players, outside of school. So if we just put added pressure onto them about, the significance of what the game is to the community and things, then they play with that extra pressure. So we don't mention it to them at all. We just, install our game plan and work on the things that we need to do in order for us to execute the game plan and, go into the game ready to go.
All right, I got to ask this, Coach, because I'm running a camera, and it's kind of hard for me to see everything, so I couldn't see what your reaction was on that last kick. It looked like it had the distance. Did you know that it was off?
It had about at least 20 more yards after.
Yeah, that was
after
incredible.
We knew he had a leg, and that was one thing that was a concern to ours, that we still had. I think they got the ball with 1:33 seconds, I believe.
Yeah.
And I told our defensive coordinator, not only do we have to stop him, we have to keep him out of field goal range, because we knew the kid could boot. From film, he had a very, very strong leg.
So were you, when he kicked the ball, did you know it was offline, or were you sitting on it like I think the rest of the people in the stands?
Yeah, I was just waiting for the call. You really couldn't tell from the angle that I was standing at. You just saw that it had plenty of distance. And then I just looked down to the referees, and they both looked at each other and started shaking their head before they signaled the call, and then and there, it was good. It was good for us after that.
Yeah, that was awesome.
How long was that exhale when you finally saw them shake their heads and give the no good sign? How long did you just go, we just dodged a bullet on that one?
It was, it was a battle all night long with a very good football club, very well coached football club with some very good athletes, and it was a battle all night. And it seemed like, the game just seemed like it wouldn't have gone any other way but the way it went last night. So for it to end like that was no surprise, but it definitely was a relief to come out with a win and get us back on track with the district victory.
So how is the district looking right now? We know that Vets and Los Fresnos are undefeated right now, and then it's you and Harlingen?
Yes. And then we got Veterans next week, so another tough game. We've got we go to Los Fresnos. We're in Hannah first, and Hannah's tough. Hannah's got a very good defense and a very strong quarterback, so they're tough. And then we go to Los Fresnos, which went the way that went. And then we had Harlingen last night, and then we got Memorial next. So we're pretty much going through a little gauntlet here of some very strong football teams, just trying to survive them and come out as healthy as possible, and see how many wins we can pick up.
How much better does this gauntlet make your team?
As long as it doesn't kill us, it makes us better. As long as it doesn't put us out in the training room, it makes us better. Makes anybody better anytime that you can play some really good football programs and play physical games. They're not just good at what they do, but they play physical football, and that's exactly what we want to do here in San Benito is play very, very physical football and play it at a high tempo and just give ourselves an opportunity to be successful.
Overall, the health of the squad is pretty good besides your normal bumps and bruises?
Yes, it is. We were very fortunate, again, to come out healthy. So that's an attribute to the hard work the kids put in the weight room in the off season and still to today. I believe staying in that weight room gives your body an opportunity to sustain a long season and a very physical season with as minimal injuries as possible.
We're past the midway point. Have you guys played 4 complete quarters yet? Or
no.
was last night's big victory 22-21 over Harlingen? Was that 4 complete quarters?
No, we're still off on a phase, and whether one game it's defense, the offense is clicking, or it's the offense clicking and defense not, or special teams. We had a few mistakes on special teams last night, so it just seems like a deja vu from last year. Took us a bit to get 4 quarters in on all 3 phases, but I can see the improvement on the mindset of our kids and the confidence that they're building within themselves and their teammates, and that'll pay big in order for us to put 4 quarters together. And we better do it here pretty soon because, like I said, Veterans Memorial they're not shabby at all. Much more bigger than we are, that's for sure.
I was going to say that Vets is a very big team. Your district is a lot bigger than the other 6A districts. You guys seem to. You're the one district that you can say from top to bottom. You guys have you have size, speed, and you have a lot of talent. The other districts are very top heavy. Your district has been one of the hardest to win in.
Oh, for sure. And then you put together the good coaching that goes on. That's it is definitely a grind mentally and physically, both on the kids and the coaching staff, because you can't. A victory last night was fantastic, and then we're back to work, getting ready for another, undefeated football squad. So you don't have time to breathe. It's get back to work, get back to the grind, and physically try to put together the best game plan for the next week and get the kids ready to go.
You and Coach Gomez, Manny Gomez, at the end of the game, you guys seemed to have a moment like it wasn't. It was almost appreciative of the game. You guys had you went through a lot in that game. I mean, it was coaching against coaching. It was a chess match almost.
Yeah, it's we haven't exchanged words much, just because we don't see each other much, but the work that he's done there, he's definitely somebody that I respect as a head football coach, and the success that he's had, and the way that he does things there in Harlingen, and the type of program that he runs, and just to be able to be on the field and coach against someone as good as him, and be able to be successful, says a lot about our coaching staff and the good things that we can do here in San Benito. So, going across the field and shaking his hand, and just, like you said, having that little short moment, where I believe it was just a exchange of respect to one another, and that's the coaching profession, and that's one of the greatest things about it. Is even after a battle like that, you can still get together outside of football and be friends, and a lot of these coaches in the Valley are. And that's one thing that I love about the Valley, because I've been out of the Valley to coach. The coaches here, the camaraderie that they have with one another from different schools, and the amount of work that they put in is a much more than elsewhere. Much more. And there's a lot of great coaching here. You don't have to go outside of the Valley to get it. There's tremendous coaching here in the Valley, and the coaches do know a lot about their X's and O's, and they definitely know how to work with the kids from the Rio Grande Valley. So they do a great job.
Coach Dan Gomez of the San Benito Greyhounds is joining us here in the huddle. Now, with all that being said, Coach, how much would you appreciate a bye weekend right about now?
I don't know, because last time we came off a bye, we weren't too hot. we were kind of rusty, so I think we're good. I think we're in a rhythm here as far as our routine, getting back on track after that bye week we did have before district. We just have to keep to the grind.
There you go. So safe to say you'll be at Sam Stadium tonight. Maybe a little scouting.
Yeah, we've actually been camping out there the past couple of weekends, because we went to go see Hannah in Harlingen last Saturday. So we'll be there again tonight.
All right. Well, listen, good luck tonight, and don't forget, you got to take care of Mama every now and then. Show her a little love.
Oh, for sure. That's the reason why. That's the reason why everybody's good around here, because we make sure that things are okay at home first.
When Mama's happy, everyone's happy.
That's right.
And when Dad's upset, nobody cares.
Yeah.
All right, Coach. Have a great week, and we'll check in with you soon.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks so much. Coach Dan Gomez of the San Benito Greyhounds joining us here in the huddle on Fox Sports Radio 1700 and 956sports.com. Have you ever had that Jim Harbaugh post-game handshake? Have we ever caught that? Have we ever, you talked about the appreciative, and you talk about Manny and Coach Dan, having that one moment. But have we ever had that Jim Harbaugh, and I'm the Lions coach at the time, his name slips me.
Jim Schwartz.
Jim Schwartz. Have we ever had that moment?
Yeah, I've actually seen it. I don't want to say names because one of them's still coaching. I've seen it where it's very awkward would be the word. And I've seen it with the same coach with two different coaches. I'd love to say their names, but I don't want to be. I don't want to be that guy.
As soon as we turn off the microphone, you're going to turn into that guy.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to be that guy during the break. By the way, you can watch those for $7.99. But no, I've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen it where one coach, and this is in basketball, would not shake the other coach's hand.
I've seen that
after a butt whooping. Which here's my thing: if you've ever been a sub-varsity coach, which I have,
right?
Getting your butt kicked is a regular event in sub-varsity, and you have to, you almost become accustomed to. Hey, great game. I appreciate because butt whooping teaches you a whole lot more.
Even as a varsity coach, though, because I was good friends with a very prolific varsity coach who one of the schools was opening up, and they said, we want to play you, and the coach was like, listen, this is your first season. How about get 1-2 years under your belt, and then we'll schedule it. I have no problem scheduling it with you, but just get a couple of years under your belt. And then the other coach came back and said, but my team will not get any better unless they see your team's level of competition. So I need you to play me.
Yeah.
Even though this is our first year out the gate, I need you to play me so that my team can see how well your team gels.
Yeah.
So the one coach, told the players, hey, listen, it almost became Hoosiers. You got to pass the ball 10 times, and then you take the shot before we go. And, at that point, you're just kind of like, well, you're not doing either team any justice because one's running a practice and the other one's not getting an opportunity to play.
Yeah, and it's a double-edged sword because when you're over-talented and you're playing a team that with less talent,
right?
What are you getting out of it? Because the other teams,
there's the risk of injury.
Yeah, and I understand that. I have seen though the Jim Harbaugh handshake a couple of times. It's very awkward. It's very uncomfortable. It's like your parents fighting,
right?
And then how do you do the interview afterwards? How do you not talk about that moment? And I can say this. I don't consider myself a journalist, but the guys that we have working for us are.
Right.
And I can only imagine what they go through because they've got to ask that question. Me, I just go up there and I'm stupid. So, hey, coach, what's that about?
Yeah.
And, if they don't want to say
well,
anything.
that may make you a better journalist, though.
Yeah.
I when I was doing sideline reporting, called out a coach for scoring, in a blowout game. You've blown the other team to bits, and then you go for a touchdown with like 6 seconds left. And, it was a blatant, we're on the 1 yard line, we're going to drive this ball in. So I called it out on TV, and after the interview, after the highlights report, the coach came and got in my face. It was because another friend of mine had said, hey, listen, he's just trying to make a point. Settle down.
Yeah.
But we've all had those. All right, Hank's giving us the signal. Do we have to take a timeout? Can we go top of the hour? Hank says, no, we have to take a timeout. We're going to pause for comments. We'll come back. More of The Huddle on 956sports.com and Fox Sports Radio 1700.